Viper AC control board or circuit board, however you want to call it. Basically, I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of what this board is and does. Alright, so let's start. Terminals. You got down here the terminals. You got your power goes right here. So you got your positive and neutral, and then for the ground goes anywhere where it says G and D, or kind of like one of these little lines in between the terminals, or you can hook it up straight to the motor base. That will give you, ground on there, and grounds everything up. Here, 3 terminals. It's going to be your motor connection. You got your black on the 3rd terminal, white on the 4th one, and red on the 5th one. The white one is actually your neutral. So just to kind of give you an idea, you can always swap the motor wires, the red and black, around. The white one definitely needs to stay always in the middle on terminal number 4. If your motor comes with the plug, then it goes right here. And here's where your capacitor plug will go. If the motor that you have does not come with a plug, then it goes right here, terminal 6 and 7. These 2 terminals here are normally not used, but you can hook up a light, like an exterior light, to the gate opener, or better yet, to the control board here, and be able to, depending how you have the receiver hooked up here, if you have a receiver that's actually an exterior receiver and you hook it up here, that will give you a light switch, which is right here. So if you have the receiver, the exterior receiver that goes for Viper, and it's hooked up to these terminals here, the yellow button usually is the one that will trigger the light to turn on and off, and the blue button will operate the gate opener. The light can be used for anything. You have an outside exterior light that you want to turn on while you're coming into the house. That's what you would do with the button on the remote control. You got your on and off switch here. You got your fuse here, 6-amp fuse. Let's see here. Okay, so over here you got your limit switch. If your limit switch has a plug, it goes right there. If it doesn't, then it goes right here. That being said, as you can tell, it says close, and then it says ground, and then it says open. So your green wire or blue wire for the limit switch will go there. Again, the white one in the middle, that's your ground or your common. The close will be your red, and that basically is how the limit switch gets connected. IR will be your photo safety beam connection. So you got 4 wires on your photo safety beam. 2, the contact wires will be connected to these 2 terminals here, IR and common, and then your power will go connected to 24-volt AC output. You got your antenna right there. You got your receiver right there. On this new edition board, the Viper has come up with, you got the P1. That's your programming button for your remote control. And we'll make another video on how to program the remote controls to the board. Here you have your open adjustment and overload adjustment for close and open. What this does is basically to give you more power or less power to the motor. So if you run into an issue where gate doesn't want to open all the way or close all the way, here's where you adjust your power of the motor. This is your little buzzer or siren. Once you turn on the board, you hear a little beeping sound coming out of there. And of course also, if it hits something along the way, it'll stop and reverse, and as it's reversing, you will get that beeping sound coming out of there as well. And this is your dip switches. Dip switches for the automation of the board, not for your dip switching for the remote control. So a lot of people get this one messed up and try to set their remote controls to this or this to the remote controls. You don't want to do that. This is only for the automation of the control board. So that being said, the first dip switch on there is your normally open or normally close setup. And what that does is, if you have a limit switch that is normally closed, you would turn it on. If you have a limit switch that says normally open or NO, you would turn it off towards the number 1. The auto close is number 2, 3, and 4. Auto close will be, as you can tell at the top there, it says 12, 25, and 45 seconds, I believe. That would be 2 and 3 and 4. So basically, if you want 12 seconds, you would turn on number 2, turn off 3 and 4. Or if you want 45 seconds, you would turn on number 4, turn off number 2 and 3. Number 5 is your directional dip switches. And what that does is, basically, if you are opening the gate and you got open light turning on here while the gate is moving, then you're good. If the gate is opening and your close light is turning on, then you want to change dip switch number 5 to the opposite of what you have. The reason for this is, it normally doesn't make a difference if all you have is a motor with nothing in it, but as soon as you put in a photo safety beam, then that becomes an issue. You want to make sure you are going the correct way. So if you're closing, you want to make sure the closed light is turning on. If you're opening, you want to make sure the open light is turning on. Very important on that. 6 doesn't get used. 7 and 8 is your channels for the receiver. So basically, in this board that's got the receiver connected already on the board, the number 7 will be your yellow button or your first channel. Number 8 will be your blue button, which is your second channel. So if you want to use the yellow button, you would turn on number 7. If you want to use the blue button, you would turn on number 8. Now, that's only if you have the receiver that's connected on the board. If you have the receiver that's connected here, then this doesn't matter. This doesn't work. You will set up your remotes to the receiver that's connected here. That pretty much concludes our overview of the board. Really nice board, reliable. A lot of features on it, so hopefully this will make it easier for you to understand how the board works and what it does.